to the OhioRAAM Show.
Well, hello there. This is Jim Lawyer, and this is the OhioRAAM Show number 361, the show about all things UltraCycling and RAM.
And I'm Lee Kreider, and this show is brought to you by the good people who operate our time stations here in Ohio. Time stations 41 in Oxford, time station 42, time station 43 in Chillicothe, where Jim captains it. And we're looking forward to having, when I see that little introduction we do and see what goes on at time stations, I get all excited about RAM again, Jim.
You and me both. I can't wait till June.
Yeah, so you've had a busy day. You've been to the crew seminars.
Yes.
Tell us a little about it.
Yeah, basically we had, this is the second set of crew seminars for RAM and RAW. Fred and Rick did a Zoom call today with us, and we had like 40-some people on, and they talk about all the things that you need to know about RAM as a crew, as a rider, etc. I learned quite a bit, and they did a great job. We're going to finish up tomorrow. Did learn a few things about some COVID protocols that we're going to have to put in place at our time stations, which we would be more than glad to do, and trick is to be safe with everybody, so it'll be a good race.
Okay, very good. And we hope that people out there will give us some comments either on YouTube or Facebook so we can talk about what's interesting you here. And Jim, what's our news so far?
Yeah, basically got a couple of things on the news. Joe Lawhorn, Chillicothe's own Joe Lawhorn, is going to do the East-West East Ohio crossing record attempt on March 20th, and we plan to be there live throughout the day and evening with him, so watch for further updates on that. Team Shibington, go ahead, Lee.
No, go ahead.
Okay. Team Shibington and Traumatic Brain Injury, they are working with Resurrecting Lives Foundation, and they will be donating helmets to the Chillicothe VA for the vets and the bike program there. Very good cause, and you can check out their website in the show notes. One more thing, Team 1 Mile, a 8-person RAM team, lost their transportation support recently, and they're hoping to get some donations so they can continue on their RAM journey this year. And we'll have the Team 1 Mile project.com in the show notes also, so if you're willing to help or can, they would really appreciate it.
Okay, I'll be sure to get those in the show notes later on, Jim. And like I said, in the OhioRAAMShow.com website, you'll find a link to that, donate to that TBI. I put in a few bucks today, and I hope other people will stop in there and do the same thing.
One other thing that I forgot was the Christoph Strasser book. That he's got out, and the English translation has helped me fulfill my lifelong dream. Christoph Strasser's Path to the Race Across America record.
Can you read German, Jim?
No, I can't.
Well, it's in German, and I can't either, more is the pity. So what else we got to get out of our way before we got to talk about next week? You've already told about. I think this is the first time we've actually tried to cover an event live, isn't it? And do live.
Yep.
So that'll be a challenge for us. We'll see how that comes off.
Hopefully we'll make it happen good and everybody will be proud of us.
And then also on Saturday, we'll have James Golding, who is planning to RAM 2021 on at 4 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, 8 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. And if you think I've made a mistake there, I haven't. I do sometimes. But we change our clocks tonight, and England doesn't do that for another couple of weeks. So I should say United Kingdom, because we got a Scot on here. We got to be careful. We're politically correct. Yes, so that will be on at 4. And then Jim, I tried to give him that off, and he said, well, if I'm in a car or something, I can join you. He will. So Jim is a working fool. So that's
we will
coming
give
up.
it a shot.
Give it a shot. Yeah, who knows?
Trying to get ready for all the RAM time station stuff coming up. So it's good practice.
Yeah, we're going to have some on time stations later on, Jim.
Yes, definitely.
Now let's bring Catherine Ford in here from the wonderful land of Scotland, my mother's family's home, and over there in Glasgow. Vice President of WUCA, World UltraCycling Association, and you have something to talk about when it comes to what WCA is doing regarding women, Catherine. Welcome to the OhioRAAM Show, and glad to have you.
Yes,
Thank you very much for having me, guys. It's lovely to be here with you. And I have lots of English family, so don't worry about the Scott. It's all fine. We hear it a lot, so don't worry.
So tell us all about what you're talking about with the Women's Initiative, what you're looking for, and what you hope to have happen there.
Well, essentially, as part of International Women's Day, on Monday, we launched WUCA's Women's Initiative called WUCA Women. And what we're doing is a series of events, basically just to help give the women in our sport a better understanding of the kind of training that they should be doing, things like their nutrition, what sort of things they should be thinking about to do better riders, and also we have an incredible lineup of amazing women who I have to say all have very, very different stories, but the one thing they have in common is they're absolutely inspirational in terms of the stories that they're telling. And the events are going to be done through Zoom, so they're not going to be streamed. You'll get a Zoom link to join, and it's an audience Q&A, so it gives a lot of people and a lot of women in particular just the chance to ask questions of some of our best athletes in the sport. We have an amazing lineup. We have Amanda Coker a week tomorrow. So that she's doing her only all-female event. So that'll be an all-female audience, just because we wanted to do one to make sure that we had the opportunity for women to ask those questions that maybe they weren't so comfortable asking in kind of a bigger forum, I guess. Elena Navakova is going to join us, who holds so many world records. Christy Tracy, who's just been doing an absolutely amazing job, kind of tearing up the road recently. Jen Orr, Raw winner. Leah Wilcock, first female winner of Trans Am overall. Rhea Parker, who I grew up seeing Rhea win Race Across America, and our very own Nancy Guth. And we've also just announced Anna May as well to line up. So it's really exciting, and I hope there's something in there for everyone in terms of the women that are looking to try and get some more knowledge, and we'll also be adding in some sessions around, as I say, things like nutrition and kind of bike setup and just some sort of how-to masterclasses as well, some networking. And we also have a really exciting announcement we made on Monday, which is we're introducing a new women's award called the Nancy Guth Award. So anyone actually, female or male, who's been making a real contribution to women's ultracycling and really encouraging more women to come and to join the sport and get into the sport. There's a lifetime membership to WUCA as an award, and that's just been announced. So it's really exciting, and I'm really passionate that women get the knowledge they need, because there's certainly when I first started following 15 years ago, I was maybe adapting a lot of the knowledge that I was getting from the men and trying to adapt it to what I was going to be doing in terms of a rider. And I think it's, there's very specific things that differences that we have in terms of the nutrition, what calories we need to take in, and also what types of foods and things as well, and different bike setups and all those kind of things. So yeah, it's just a great chance for women to ask the questions that they want to find out about, and just get inspired by some of the best athletes we have.
And what's the best way for people to follow this?
So we've got a lot of information on Facebook. So our Facebook page has all of the information on it about the initiative. We've also got a lot of information on our Instagram page as well. So that's just been set up. And what people can do if they want to sign up to the event is they jump on the Instagram page or Facebook. They'll find the links to the Eventbrite event, and that'll give them the access to the Zoom links. And the other thing to say is all of these sessions are free. So there's no
we like that. That's close
yes.
to our Scottish hearts, isn't it? I should say Scott hearts. I was correct about that.
Yeah.
Listen, there is a link on the show notes to the page you wrote for WCA, and we'll try to get those other links there, if not this week, for next week's show for sure, Catherine, because the OhioRAAM Show has been highly supportive of more women in the sport from the very beginning.
Definitely.
One of the things I learned years before there was an internet, and I was involved a little bit in RAM, I found out that women put on the best show. No, and I say that in the broadest sense of the word. A lot of times, the men's race, particularly in RAM, you got one guy way out in front, and another guy a day behind, and another guy a day behind him. But you look at, and the women are always putting on a good show. So I think, and in so many ways, and I've seen that again and again when Jen Orr and Meg Hakkinen went up head to head at the World Time Trials a few years ago. Wow, what a show that was. So, hey, our real guest here, let's get to her before we forget about her, is back here in the United States in Columbus, Ohio, Jan Malik. Hi, Jan. How are you tonight?
Good. How are you? And thank you so much for having me.
Just delighted. Jim, you want to?
Yeah, basically, what kind of riding you do? I know it's not our normal road bike riding that we normally cover.
Yeah, so I actually am a professional cyclocross and mountain bike racer. And then, especially this year with COVID and races being canceled for the most part, and a lot of my training is gravel focused.
Gotcha. And I think you just recently set a record on the gravel here in Ohio?
I did, yeah. My friend Steve Coss and I did the duo from the southernmost point of Ohio to the northern point, and we did it as a circumnavigation route. So we made sure to hit as much gravel as we could, and in order to do that, we adopted the Dirty Water 500K route that Ashland Bike Company made, and they host as an event. And we kind of modified that to meet the WUCA standards, and decided to tackle that this winter, in December, actually.
Outstanding. And you guys did it in a record time, because number one, it was probably the first time anybody's done it.
Yeah.
But a very good time. What was the time that you guys did?
I believe it was around 30 hours.
Yes, awesome.
And the distance?
It was, oh geez, I've already blocked it out. It was about 500.
Yeah, 300 and some miles.
Yeah.
315 miles.
Yep.
Outstanding. Single bike, or did you have backup bikes? Or, I'm not familiar with gravel riding, so I'm not sure how all that works.
Yeah, so we each brought one bike, and I used my cyclocross bike, and I think Steve has a gravel bike that he uses for both, and brought that as well. We did bring some spare tires, and I run a tubeless setup, and so I made sure to put some fresh orange seal in there, so if, with sharp gravel, we didn't have to stop for punctures. And that actually ended up working out really well for both of us from a mechanical standpoint. We didn't have any issues, so that was nice because it was cold.
Gotcha. Do you have any future plans here in the near future of any other long rides or any other challenges you're taking?
Yeah, I'm currently looking to try and find, I really enjoy doing that circumnavigation approach and trying to find and incorporate some of that gravel into the WUCA records. And I'd love to see more of those in Ohio, because we only have, I want to say, north to south, south to north, and then the east-west, west-east ones, as far as I know. And granted, I'm not an expert, so I could be wrong on that. But I'd really like to see more, because Ohio has some really untapped potential when it comes to riding and fingering and pushing yourself.
Outstanding. Lee, do you have anything that you've got on your mind?
What can you give me an estimate as to what percentage of that route was actually on gravel or what was unpaved?
Yeah, I want to say it was probably about 60% gravel and 40% paved, give or take. I mean, it may have been closer to 70-30 if we're counting roads that are kind of like that dirt, but not necessarily like gravel. But let me tell you, where there was gravel, they made it count. It was like
yeah, that's for sure. And you don't find much gravel over here on this side of the state, but we got a little bit. Hey, there's a series of records available that I think people aren't taking as much advantage of as they could, is the capital to capital records. And I don't know of anybody that's done anything from Columbus to Lansing or Indianapolis or Harrisburg or Frankfurt or anything like that. I think there's some great opportunities there, Jen. You have to get out of the state, but you start or end in the state as you choose.
Yeah, I definitely think if I'm going to do that, I need to, so I actually don't own a road bike, so I would need to probably make that jump. But it's definitely something that I'm really looking to explore, that side of riding a bit more. Especially my friend Megan Gerke was the person who inspired me to try these races. And, she's like, there's just not women doing it. She's like, all you have to do is just ride it. And you can get a record even if you try. And so that's, I really want to see more of that.
Definitely.
Very good. Catherine, you got any questions or any comments you'd like to make here?
I'm just in awe of Jen, and I love the sense of adventure that she clearly has, because I'm such a pampered road rider normally. I'm really ashamed to admit it, given I live in Scotland and we have such amazing off-road tracks, but I just love to go around the islands off the west coast, and it's paved. So yeah, I feel like the more I hear about the dirt roads and everything and just gravel riding and stuff, the more I kind of want to try it. So I think I might have to indulge and get myself a gravel bike or something. But yeah, do you have any, was this self-supported as well, Jen, or do you have support vehicles?
We definitely had a support vehicle, and it was, when we were doing some of the test riding, because one of our concerns is with gravel roads, sometimes you can't get a vehicle up them, especially because in Ohio we have these really steep, tight turns where you're okay, yeah, maybe people in Jeeps or their four-wheelers go ride it. And so we test rode some of it, and Steve has a Fit, the car, and we're going over some of these, and we're if the Fit can do it, we rented a van, the van can do it. And there were some close calls we were testing, and we were oh no. But our support crew was key. They were there when we would stop to the bathroom, because again, it was in December, so at night it was pretty cold. And they'd be they'd run out, they'd throw an emergency blanket around us. I remember too, when we were looking at the route, there were a few parts where we were driving in the car, and we had a dog run out and start we were probably driving 20 miles an hour, and this car's the dog's chasing the car and trying to bite it. And so we took note, I have the notepad in the passenger seat, and I'm okay, mile 28, dog tries to kill you. And so then we we talked and communicated that with our support crew. And so I'm not even joking, we had them basically act as a barrier between us and the dog. And then Kurt, our friend who also is on the Paradise Garage racing team as well, and that's kind of our support crew came from Paradise Garage. And I remember one point this dog's coming, and if he wouldn't have kind of gradually run the dog off the road, obviously not charging it, but enough to fear it, I'm pretty sure one of us would have been taken out.
Wow.
How big was this dog?
I mean,
Did you get chased by dogs in Scotland, Catherine?
No, but I did get chased by a dog in Race Cross America. I was going to do a changeover. We had like I think it was in Georgia, or it was like West Virginia, Georgia. It was right just before it was definitely really wooded. It was after Kansas, and it was like a little Miss Sunshine moment because our follow vehicle had the sliding door in the back. Mm-hmm. So I just remember the Kurt, like huge Rottweiler came out. And the owner was like, my dog will eat you if I ask him to. We're like, we're getting out of here. So he just put my bike on the back and I jumped in and I couldn't close the door and this dog was running alongside and I was just like, ah. But yeah, I've never been chased by a dog in Scotland, but I did in RAAM. So, but that's why it's such a cool race. It's, it's all those memories and...
I think every cyclist in the United States has at least one dog story they can tell you, if not more. And here in Ohio, Jen's route went toward the eastern side of the state, and the dog population increases the further east you go. But that's a cultural thing. We probably shouldn't go there, maybe, huh?
Jen, what's the story with the purple tutu on the website?
Yes. So, that I would say like that ride that was done of was like part of the kindling that ignited this dirty water route. So
gotcha.
It started out Joe Longhorn wanted to do a fundraiser for NICA, which is the National Interscholastic Cycling Association, and I'm actually the league director for the Ohio League, which we're going to launch this fall coming up. And so part of that is he's like, I want to do a fundraiser. I think I'm going to do Jester Hill Climb for, 24 hours, which, who says that? But it was so funny because he's like, is that okay? And I'm like, I'm not going to tell you no. And so it kind of turned into, I was talking to Heather, his wife, and I was like, oh, what if we have people, if they're like, they donate X amount, Joe has to go up on a single feed, or he has to go up pulling Lincoln, or he goes up in a tutu. And so that happened. And then, as again, races were starting to get canceled and my season was more just enjoying riding. I was like, I'm going to join Joe. And granted, I did say I was only going to do 12 hours because that was the longest ride I'd done. Until the dirty water, and I, so for some of that I was like, okay, if people donate like X amount, I'm gonna ride up on the tandem with his daughter Izzy, and if they donate another amount, I'm gonna wear a tutu and LED suspenders. And one of them was actually I'm gonna ride my commuter bike, which is behind me in the cluttered mess that is my study. And I when I said it, I didn't think about the fact being in Columbus, Ohio, I can ride like 40 miles and get like 80 feet of elevation. So my single speed commuter is very much set up for that. And so I remember going up, like I'm in my tutu on the bike and I'm like, oh God, just like stepping on the side of the pedal.
Well, I wanted to use that one of those photographs, but we had some sponsorship questions, I think, Jen, wasn't there, about the jersey you had on, so we weren't really able to use that. But maybe we should have got her. We should have got her to demo it here for us.
There you go.
That was great.
Yeah, and it honestly was a really, really fun event because it involved the community, and it gave me like my first taste of like what an ultra cycling event could be like and just how supportive the community is. And I was like, oh yeah, like maybe I can do this.
That's awesome.
And Jen, what's your favorite type of riding? I want to ask you this. I don't know if do you like the hills, or do you like just the dirt road, or do you like the pavement? Like what are you liking at the moment?
I love climbing. Love going uphill. I'm still working on a lot of my confidence going downhill. Oddly enough, I'm far more confident going downhill on the dirt if there's roots, rocks, gravel. Put me on the pavement going downhill and I'm like, oh no. So that's an area I'm like working on, but I definitely love technical climbing.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I like climbing, but coming down those big mountain descents, I'd always
yeah, and it's
my son, he just let it roll, but not me.
Yeah, and it's so funny too, like getting outside of Ohio, because we do have like it's basically like up, down, so it's death by 1,000 paper cut hills. Whereas
Right.
when I've gone out and like ridden in California, or, places where they actually have mountains, I'm like, sweet, like that climb was great. And then we're descending, I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is more exhausting than the climb.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm like, how are we still descending? It's been like 20 minutes.
Hey, Jed, it's been a delight to have you here.
Yes, definitely.
And especially with Catherine with us. We appreciate that. Glad to have you here with us, Catherine. Catherine, we want to have you on the show again sometime and give you a full show to talk to us more about yourself and what the World UltraCycling Association is doing, et cetera, or anything you want to talk about. We hope to see you again. Keep in touch, Jen. Keep talking to us. Tell us what you're up to.
Of course.
If we see something really exciting, we'll probably get you back here sometime.
Awesome.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And if you have time, swing by our time stations in Chillicothe this June.
Yeah, just down the
And
pike there
watch
from
the
you.
Ultra guys.
Yeah, they're in Columbus, and
Yep.
just hook down. You know what we got to do, Jim? At some point, we got to come up some way of describing where people can find these time stations in these towns as we get closer. It's pretty
I
easy
agree.
in Oxford and Blanchester. All you have to do is go there and you'll find it. But I shouldn't speak ill of Blanchester. It's a great
No,
town.
they're a great group, great
Great
setup,
group
great
there,
site.
yeah. But the time station isn't hard to find either.
No,
But
definitely.
we'll do something about that. And Catherine, so glad to have you here. It's always glad to talk to Scott. Just makes me feel like home. I love Scotland. I love being there. I'm probably, if I could afford it, I'd move there, but that's another story altogether. Jim,
Yes,
next
sir.
week, we are going to have our work cut out for us.
I think so. Yes, we're going to follow Joe.
You're
as
going to
his
be busy.
Record attempt.
Follow Joe's record attempt, and we haven't figured out exactly, or Jim hasn't figured out exactly how he's going to do that, but we'll try to stay in touch. So be sure to push that button there that says subscribe if you're on YouTube, you're on Facebook, click that like button, or you can go to the OhioRAAMShow.com website, and there you can put in your email address and you'll get notifications of future shows. We generally put them up about 2 days ahead of time, so you have plenty of time to clear your calendar. Ladies, we are so glad to have you here tonight.
Yes.
And we'll be looking forward to hearing more from you in the not too distant future.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Okay.
This is Gregory Zuber, thanking you for watching and sharing.
Music by Kevin MacLeod.